If I saw the title to this video in a tweet, I'd be the first one jumping to defend Arsenal because it does sound extreme. Arsenal are one of, if not the best club in Europe right now. But before you get down in those comments and rip me a new one, hear me out because the data does back up the fact that without their set pieces, they are just an average team. And when you go down there and get in that comment section after you hear what I have to say, hit that subscribe button for me as well. So without their set pieces is a major caveat because they do have their set pieces and they've proven that it's not a fluke and they are here to stay and they are very good at it. But they've gone cold for a short stretch and it's exposed their greatest flaw. The whole football world knows at this point how potent Arsenal have been on corner kicks and set pieces for the past few years. But that potency has become a dependency lately. You see, if they don't score a set piece or a corner or a penalty kick, they don't win, at least not nearly often enough to be considered one of the best clubs in the world. Across all competitions, Arsenal are 17-3-2 this season. But they're a perfect 11-0-0 when they convert from a set piece, corner, or penalty in the game. And they're just 6-3-2 when they don't. But if we take out the Carabao Cup where they have 2 wins without a set piece, one of which came against League One opponent Port Vale, then they're only 4-3-2. And if we take out the Champions League games, it really starts to tell the story. Arsenal are an amazing 5-0-0 in the Champions League. They've scored a set piece or a corner in 3 of those 5 games, but they beat Olympiacos and Atleti without them. But Champions League play tends to be much more wide open, creating more opportunities for goals in open play. In fact, the 3.44 goals per game scored as a whole in the Champions League this season is considerably higher than the 2.77 goals per game scored in the Premier League. So with open play scoring a lot harder to do in the Premier League, that weapon of the set pieces and the corners is enough to keep Arsenal at the top of the table. But we're beginning to see what happens when the set pieces dry up. Because in Premier League play this season, Arsenal are a perfect 8-0-0 in games in which they convert one, but they're just 2-3-2 in games in which they don't. And it's hardly a coincidence that their recent dip in form, going 2-2-1 in their past 5 Premier League games after starting 8-1-1, have coincided with a 5-game set-piece drought in Premier League play. Look, I'm not discounting Arsenal as a truly great team. The set pieces are a real weapon and are not fluky. Their defense is good enough to keep them in every single game, and they can score from open play, and they have done it. But they do seem to approach many of their Premier League games as though they are just trying to keep the opponent scoreless and are waiting for a set piece to break the draw open. But they haven't been able to flip that switch when they need it, and when they don't get the set pieces, it turns out they're just average. And in the Premier League, where clubs are willing to give them possession and sit deep, it turns out they're actually below average. So will their reliance on set pieces be enough? Can they keep converting them at a historic enough rate to be the truly great team they've been so far? Or will this turn out to be their Achilles heel? Get in the comments, let me know what you think. You can also leave comments on Twitter and Blue Sky at Pitchside Pub. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for me down below so you can follow the channel, and check out the website pitchsidepub.com. Thanks as always for joining us here on Pints and Punditry at the Pitchside Pub.